So now we have the topic which is VVT, means valence bond theory. Bond theory. So the theory about the theory tell us the theory tell the theory tell us that how bonding occurs in covalent molecule. So the theory tells us about the overlapping of two atoms. Overlapping of two atoms. So the overlapping means when the orbitals when orbitals of two atoms met each other and each other, or we can say create bond. So that it is called overlapping, the meeting, the bonding of two orbitals of two atoms. So assumptions, like I'm writing the points over here. So like the spin should be opposite. Spin should be always opposite of both electrons and charge of electrons should, we can say, charge of electron must be same, like positive in different in different charges it cannot be happen. So like we have another point, which is the strength of bond. So the strength of bond the strength of bond determined by the strength of bond, we can say that the strength of bond can be determined by the how close the strength of bond can be determined by how close the orbitals, how close the electrons are, how close the bonding is, by how close the orbitals are. So like the strength of bonding can be determined by the strength of bonding can be determined by the how close the orbitals of both atoms are. So like we have written the point over here of strength. Now I'll be talking about the length. So like hydrogen. So here the length, we can say that the strength is higher, the length is lower. Because they are very close to each other, that's why the strength is higher, and the length between them, or between two orbitals of atoms, are less. So let's talk about the bonds. There are two types of bonds. Two two types of covalent bonds. First one is sigma bond. So now we'll look into, there are two types of bonds. First one is sigma and second one is pi. In this video we'll talk about sigma bond. So this we can explain sigma bond by the bond formed by head to head. Like the bond, it is the bond can be created by head to head overlapping. Head to head overlapping. So the bond can be created by head to head overlapping. We can say it like this, like in x-axis. Sigma bond we can define like the bond which can be created by the head to head. Like head, this is the head of this pen and the other head of other pen. So it is the sigma bond. So the sigma bond is head to head overlapping. Now we'll take some examples like S to S overlapping. S to S overlapping. So S to S overlapping, as we take, let me give you example of hydrogen and hydrogen, H2, right? So H2, 1s and 1s. So as we know that the shape of S is spherical, round, spherical. So the shape of S is spherical, or we can say round. So like overlapping, like this is hydrogen, this is one hydrogen, 1s, and here we have other hydrogen, 1s, positive. So overlapping will be like this, positive, overlapping will be like this, opposite spins. So overlapping will be like this. This is head to head overlapping. It is called sigma bond. Like how it is head to head overlapping, like this is the shape of S orbital. So the shape of S orbital is spherical, or we can say round. The shape of S orbital is round. So here is no we can say it is non-directional. So in S orbital, only sigma bond can be done, because it is non-directional. Like it is, the round shape has only head, so it can do the only head to head overlapping. So it is called S to S overlapping, right? So now I'll be looking into S, what we call it, S and P overlapping. Like S and P is also sigma bond. Like how? Let me give you an example like how it is sigma bond, S and P. Like consider S, the shape of S, and P. As we know that the shape of P orbital is like dumbbell, like this, right? Positive, spin, right? So let's make overlapping. It will be like this and this. It will be like this, spins, opposite spins. So this is the what we say SP. SP, this is the what we call it, this is S and P overlapping. So in this S is also included. So the where is as we previously discussed that the there is no what we call it, the S is non-directional. S is non-directional, so S will always S S orbital in S orbital only sigma bond can be created. Only sigma bond can be created because S have no direction, because it in S shape, S is like round shape, so there is no direction, right? So and other bonding we have, like previously we have discussed about S and S overlapping, and after that we had what we call it, S and P overlapping, right? SP and SS overlapping. So now I'll be discussing about P and P overlapping. P and P overlapping, right? So let me give you an example, like P shaped like dumbbell and another P, positive positive, or we can say negative negative, right? Spin opposites. So it will overlap like this. Let's make structure like this, right? This and this, P overlapping, right? So in P overlapping, it can be like this is head to head overlapping. In P and P, sigma bond and pi bond can be created. Both can be created, like I have given the example of head to head, like this is head to head overlapping. So this we have previously discussed that sigma bonding is head to head bonding, head to head overlapping bonding, right? So it is head to head, it is sigma. Now let me give you an example of what we call it, pi bond. Like pi bond is like so in this, like we have two p orbitals, negative negative, like it can be positive positive. So opposite spins, right? So they can be overlap like this, from this to this, like from this to this, they can overlap like this. And it can be in P and P, it can be like head to head overlapping, right? So in P and P, in P and P, in P and P overlapping, sigma and pi both occurs, right? So we have